Good afternoon, this is Doc with Dr. Patrick Live. And have you ever felt so stressed that you thought you were going to explode? For whatever reason, the time that we are living is full of stress. Ever since the pandemic, the stress level's been building, whether it's politics, life, paying bills, whatever it is. What causes you to be overwhelmed? So here's some questions when you start to think about stress and how to get to it and what's triggering you. Number one, answer these questions. It makes me angry when? 2, I become overwhelmed when? 3, I feel offended when? 4, I think it's rude to blank. 5, at work I wish people would blank. 6, it makes me crazy when? And 7, I get irritated when. If you can take a moment and write those answers out, you start to get a sense of what triggers you. And it's important to know because we live in this era of incredible stress. The American Institute of Stress and OSHA believe that 120,000 people a year die of stress-related situations, things. In other words, stress really affects a lot of people's health. When we're stressed, we tend to react in one of 3 ways, right? We either freeze, we fight, or we run, right? Freeze, flight, fight. So depending on how you respond to stress will go to dictate a lot of things in life. So most of us, when we're early on in life, young, we learn to use stress to our advantage. So if we're taking a test, we may wait to the last minute to study, pushing ourselves on the brink, to the brink of trying to get anxious, trying to get all worked up, because then we think we'll force ourselves to do better. And it is true. If you think about the bell curve, right? If you force yourself up to the top part of stress, you tend to perform well until you push too much. If you push too much, then you like spiral down. And that's when you lose control because all the energy you had up here in the logic part of your brain gets rushed to the back, and that emotional survival instinct kicks in, and then you're not really good in handling the stress. So how do you handle stress? How do you get through it? If you're a person that's really stressed and overwhelmed, you have to remember that at birth, right, there's this cup in your head and all of life's stressors go into that cup. Once it's full, it overflows. And if you get stressed too much, it can cause your body to push you into a state of depression. And if you're in that state of depression, it doesn't feel good because your body drops the serotonin levels and you just feel heavy. You sigh. Things are just overwhelming. How do you get out of that? What do you do? You have to start to reorient your brain in a more positive way. Unfortunately, a lot of us deal with this fundamental attribution error, right? Our tendency to judge others by their behavior and assign it to their character, while we judge ourselves by our intent. And you see this a lot because if you're driving down the road and someone is going slow in front of you, right? We're like, oh, I can't believe you're doing this. You're a rotten driver. We start to imagine that the person driving is a terrible person just because they're driving slow or whatever they're doing. However, if we're driving slow, we give ourselves the benefit of the doubt because we know why we're doing it. Why are we so quick to judge other people through that negative filter? It's because we're a stressed out society and everything goes through that stressed filter. We take everything personal and we react. One of the things you have to determine is if you are living a stressed life, there is a high probability that you are personalizing a lot of things that have nothing to do with you. You have to stop personalizing everything that's coming your way and take a breath. The person going slow in front of you is not trying to do something to you. They're simply going slow. So don't personalize it. If you don't personalize it, it doesn't trigger a stress response in your brain and you can stay calm. You can keep the stress hormones from like bursting into your brain, especially cortisol. And if you can keep the cortisol out, you can stay fairly calm. So remember, not everything's about you. Matter of fact, some great philosophers have said people are disturbed not by the thing, but by their perception of the thing. So try to give everything around you the benefit of the doubt. Doesn't mean you can't have good, healthy boundaries, but remember, don't become so stressed out about everything. Because once you're stressed, you tend to give in to impulse issues. So if you're stressed and you get a lot of cortisol, then your body's going to want to eat a lot of sugar and a lot of fat. Well, that's not healthy. If you're stressed and you want to give it, you got this impulse energy you might want to spend, you might want to do things that you may regret. Be careful that you don't allow that stress to get addressed by that impulsive side of our bodies. When that compulsion takes over, it's really hard to say no, because we get these obsessive thoughts like, I got to do this, or I got to eat this, or I got to say this. We have to step back, take a breath, and relax. So what causes you so much stress? Is there anything you can do to step back and take a breath? Is there anything you can do to look at the container of stuff within you, all these marbles that have built up over time, and say, okay, I can get rid of this one. I can make a change with that one. Perhaps you can start journaling and writing. I tell people, write a letter to God. It helps because you process in terms of a letter. Write it every day. And if it's too difficult, write it in terms of a postcard. Meditate. Try to relax. Go for a walk in nature. Exercise. Try to get the negative energy out. Try to find some healthy distractions. Use some creative imagery. Start painting. Do something to get that energy out. Try to avoid the stress if you can help it. Maybe volunteer. Maybe create a plan to deal with the triggers before they kick in. Sometimes you have to be careful too, because we put ourselves in a stressful position because we can't say no. We keep doing things and overextending ourselves, and that's stressing us out. Battle our negative thinking is another one, right? All that self-talk that we do. Don't test yourself. Give yourself time and be patient. You can get through it, but take it one step at a time. You can do it. Peace. Back out.